Hello friends, Diva here. My name is Diva and I'm a Libra, hence Diva the Libra. Thank you for being here. Today we are drinking if you know me even a little bit, I love matcha and I've been trying to combine it recently with things that I love as well. And so this is a strawberry vanilla matcha milkshake. Probably tell just off of the color. I did not use as much matcha as I should have, or I put too much milk. Still delicious, just like a little bit lacking. I feel like many people can probably relate to the feeling that when the sun starts hitting at like, not even 4:40, but like 4:23, which it is right now, and it has been driving me a little insane. Starts hitting a little hard, to say the least. That has always kind of been the case for me. I love being a homebody. I love staying inside and I love doing things inside. You can usually find me on this couch or on my bed reading. I feel like this channel has been like great way for me to like kind of like get out and do things and really like push me to like find new activities to do. But I feel like as the colder months come along, you know, it can just be really easy to fall into a rut. You're doing the same things like work, eat, sleep, and then also to compensate for the fact that like the days feel so short, staying up like really late. But anywho, I hope somebody can relate and combine that with the fact that like I've always loved reading, I've always loved books. I've seen like other people do this tag and it kind of just felt like the perfect time to introduce myself in that way. I feel like I've never formally really like been like, hi, I'm Diva, I'm 24 and I love reading. So this channel just felt like the perfect time to do that because I also know like with the winter months coming along, I'm going to be doing a lot more reading, a lot more keeping myself busy in different ways, like engaging more and more with my hobbies. And so I feel like without further ado, let's do the BookTube newbie tag. I'm fully going to be reading off of my phone. I've seen other BookTube channels do these questions, and so really just like pulling from those lists that they created. And so full credit to them. Why are you joining BookTube? Well, that's a great first question. Since reading is such an integral part of my identity, I've been like in bookish spaces on the internet for a long time, even when I wasn't making content, from Bookstagram to BookTube to really any bookish space online. I loved watching other creators either do like book recommendations or like reading vlogs. And so I knew when I started this channel about a year and a half ago, which feels crazy to say, and kind of like carved out my own corner of the internet. I didn't know if like when approaching this channel at first, if I just wanted to make it a BookTube channel or if I wanted to make it like a me channel and like integrate like every part of my life. Starting off this channel, I really loved sharing my passions and like sharing what I love, and that has been like all aspects of my life. But since reading is such like a big part of it, I feel like that's why I'm also making this video, because even though I've been in the bookish space for a while now making my own content, I feel like I'm kind of using this video as like a way to say like, hi guys, this is Diva. Also, I was an English major in college, so there was this aspect where something that I loved and was my passion was also something that was becoming like work. Like for so much of my life, it had felt like a creative outlet, like a hobby, like something I did in my free time that I really enjoyed. And I feel like grappling with that, this is something that I love, but also like it's really burning me out. That's something that like after I graduated, I had to like grapple with that. I feel like I never stopped reading recreationally, but I really felt like I had to kind of like find my love in it again, and like I have, which thank God. So happy to join. Next question. When did you fall in love with reading? I feel like when I was younger, I really wanted to be an artist. My grandma like regularly notes how I wanted to be like painting, like drawing, but at some point like reading is the one that like really stuck. She would take me to the library when I was younger. She would be like, you would just want to stay there forever. Like I would read to you and you would want to stay there forever. And I feel like some of my earliest memories are like either the library or Barnes & Noble. When my mom would be running errands, I would like beg her to leave me at one of those locations so she could like run those errands and like come back and pick me up in the vicinity. I was very aware of stranger danger, nobody be scared. Even I'm looking at it right now, there's a 20th anniversary copy of The Hungry Caterpillar on my desk because my sister got it for me for my birthday a couple of years ago, because that was my favorite book when I was younger. And I feel like it's something that's just become, my friends knew when I was younger, like if they got me something, they could get me like a $20 gift card to Justice or to like Barnes & Noble, and I would be very happy. I feel like in elementary school, my favorite series were like Babysitter's Club, Unfortunate Series of Events by like Lemony Snicket. Like every kid read The Giver and it had like a really big impact on them. There was that series where the kids were like stuck underground, and I think the series is called Ember. I can't even think of them all, but I feel like there were just so many books. Dork Diaries, I would be remiss if I didn't say it, like Junie B. Jones. I just feel like there would be so many times where my mom would be like, Diva, are you awake? And I'd be like, no. And I was like reading the Click series like under my cover. And so I feel like when did I fall in love with reading? It really stuck in like elementary school, and since then it has just fostered and grown. What unique things can I bring to BookTube? I love to critically engage with books and just like talk about them with people, and I feel like that's why I really love YouTube, the kind of like long form element when I feel like you can really discuss, really just enjoy getting to like the meat and potatoes really that you can in like a YouTube discussion thread with somebody. Also, I think I'm fun. Some may even call me funny, dare I say. And so I would love if people stuck around and just to like engage and just like talk about different things, whether it be like this book we enjoyed, this book maybe we didn't enjoy, the way in which like tropes are being utilized like in different ways in fiction. Let's just talk about it. I'm very much a mood reader. I've accepted that about myself. I feel like I'm always somebody who is like, I can make like a TBR and I can make like a list that I'm gonna like stick to. No. And so I feel like you can probably count on is that like genre wise, I'm a big romance reader. That is like the genre that I feel like lately hasn't really been like coming second. I feel like is like literary fiction, and I've been like leaning a lot more into that. And then third is fantasy, which I feel like I'm trying to get more into. I was a big fantasy reader in like middle and high school, especially the dystopian wave that hit I feel like in like 2016. Funnily enough, recently I got this copy of The Knife of Never Letting Go, the first book, which I love the new cover, but I feel like I didn't want to let this pass me by. My library was having a sale and the books were like 50 cents, $1. So yeah, no, we are not going to talk about the adaptation that they did because no. So I feel like that question kind of got away from me, but I feel like expect chatting, talking. This right now, I feel like this is what it'll often be, maybe like a little bit of chaos. Okay, well, I feel like the last question was a perfect segue. What are your favorite books and genres? Favorite books is like always such a hard question for me, not because it's always even like fluctuating. When I think of like favorite book, I think of like 6-star. I'm someone who like rarely rereads books. I'll reread like parts maybe, but I don't really reread like books in their entirety. But a 6-star like favorite book for me is a book like I will readily sit down and like reread. Well, there's one right here that I'm sitting next to my library. One of them is Foolish Hearts by Emma Mills. This is one of my favorite YA books. I really love the way that she writes platonic and romantic relationships, how many characters there are, people and storylines can get like lost in the sauce, but like Foolish Hearts in particular just has like a special place in my heart. It's one of the books that like my longtime friend and I bonded over in high school because I recommended it to her and it was like, you have to read this. And she did. And it was great. I feel like Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison. That was a book that I read in high school where we were reading it for like required reading. And then something weird happened where we like never ended up like finishing as a class. Being me, I had read ahead to like finish. And then I was like, what do you mean we're not going to discuss it? We never did. But I remember that's just a book that stuck with me. The character study and then the ending, which I don't want to spoil. That's a favorite too. The Knife of Never Letting Go is one of my favorite dystopian books, especially the second one. Such a good sequel. Present and past, I feel like I'm so often used to being like disappointed by sequels in fantasies when it's like a trilogy. It's like the middle one just like really slows itself down. This one really just like ramped up the tension. So like, why did I never read the third book? Who knows? Favorite genre, I feel like I touched on this earlier. Romance. I love reading about people falling not just only in love, even though I do love that, but also I feel like reading in the romance genre taught me like a lot growing up, not just like about the love you give, but like the love like you want to receive, and also just it was fun. Like actually I feel like I'm kind of leaving out a part of my reader experience by not talking about like fan fiction or like original stories on like Wattpad. I was somebody who when it came to Wattpad, I never know how to pronounce it, was not a big like reading fan fiction on there. That was like for AO3 and fanfiction.net. People were writing such good young adult and teen like original stories on Wattpad. I know people like clown it sometimes for like becoming original stories like My Life with the Walter Boys, but a part of it just makes me really wow. Like I remember reading that when it was getting like updated bi-weekly or like monthly. I really want to get back into fantasy and I feel like now is like the perfect time for it. So, and I feel like I'm gonna be kicking myself because I feel like I'm forgetting some, and that's why I don't like answering that question because it's like always in flux. But I feel like the ones I named are kind of like staples in my, if you want to know like writing styles that I like or enjoy, then like check out those works. Yeah. What are some challenges you expect to face? Well, I'm a big mood reader. It's something that like I constantly find myself in flux. Like I thought I wanted to read this book that I took out from the library yesterday and then I end up keeping it. Shout out the library for having like the auto renew system 2 months because I didn't want to read it like I thought I did. It's not even that like the feeling has passed, but I just find myself like, oh, I feel like that is a challenge. I get so in my head about like, I'm not reading enough. I'm in a reading slump. Somebody said this recently. It's like the meme of the actress from the HBO show Girls, where she's like, I think you guys are thinking about yourselves too much. Where I really think attributing phrases like that, like reading slump. Diva, when in high school, when you weren't reading a book or you were in between books and you like weren't reading, did you ever call it like a reading slump? No, you were just like, you're not reading right now. And so when you picked up another book, it was like, oh, like great, another book. Where I read. I feel like I often read on my couch right here, if you guys see, and on my bed. And where I live has a balcony where I'm often at during the summer. I think it's a little too cold now. Oh, also the library. I love like picking up a hold that I have at the library and then sitting down and reading there. But what I'll often do is kind of like bring a book to the library and just sit there and read. I love like the change of environment sometimes. I feel like an interesting opposition to this question is like places you can't read. And I cannot read physically while the car is paused. I feel like I see people do that often and they say it's really like comfortable for them. I can read on like a car ride, road trip. Like this is just a question I'm adding myself about like what I'm looking forward to. I'm really looking forward just to talk about books with other people, especially just like in long form, which is why like I'm so happy that I'm on YouTube and like have this channel. Also just like being in your 20s, that's a large part of me transitionary period in my life right now, which is why I'm happy that books have been like such a comfort and something that has like always been there for me in this sense. And so if you love books, stick around. If you love matcha, stick around. And if you like K-pop, stick around. Good night, guys.